Hey everyone, so the video you're watching today is probably going to be spread out over the course of weeks to months because we are going to be tumbling some rocks today. Specifically, we're going to be tumbling a rock that I've been told multiple things by many people. Don't tumble it. It tumbles wonderfully if you're careful. I've never been able to tumble it well. I tumble it well when I do specific things. Like, it's kind of all over the road. A bunch of people told me to just not even bother trying. Well, today, we're going to tumble Obsidian. Please excuse the other rocks in the background. That video has definitely come out by now. So, regular viewers of the channel will remember that I went to Glass Butte in Oregon recently. And by recently, I mean like 2 months ago. Anyway, though, you know, anything within a quarter of a year is recent in my brain. But we got a ton of really, really pretty Obsidian in this size range. And I'm thinking these are like tailor-made perfect tumblers instead of trying to figure out how to polish all of these by hand, which would take forever. I'm thinking we just try to figure out how we can tumble them, because I've heard that you can do it. It's just kind of a pain. I've never actually attempted it. Okay, that's not true. I tried it once when I first started tumbling, and I put it in with a bunch of agate, and needless to say, it did not last long. But I think doing a batch of just Obsidian by itself would be a bit better. So my plan is to add cushion on step 2 all the way up. Normally I do step 3 and 4 and 5. You know, my pre-polish, polish, and burnish, but I'm thinking even my second grit, I'm gonna move to cushion. I'm also gonna try something, and I think plastic pellets will cushion a little better than the ceramic pellets, specifically for Obsidian, just because it is so fragile and very prone to scratching. This is basically me experimenting, so hopefully we get some good results. There's some really, really nice silver sheen, rainbow. There's some borealis in here. It's really, really pretty stuff. But right now they just kind of look like crusty black rocks. Some of them you can see the color immediately, but most of them we aren't going to be able to see anything good until they get a little bit of shaping. So yeah, I'm excited. I think we should be able to get some good results. I'm confident. If I had done this a year or two ago, I probably wouldn't have been confident, but I feel like we can do this. And I feel like it shouldn't be that difficult. So let's start with our step 1. Oh yeah, and unrelated to the Obsidian, I will also be tumbling a batch of banded iron because I love this stuff, and I learned that it tumbles really freaking well in a rotary tumbler. So doing a whole batch of banded iron. So no matter what, we will get at least one batch of rocks that comes out good. So for step 1, we are going to be using 6090 silicon carbide. Stuff I usually use, and it works really, really well. So we're gonna use, oh, where's my measuring cup? I just had. For step 1, I'm going to be using 4 tablespoons of 6090. Then I'm gonna add water until about there. I want the water below the top of the rocks by a decent amount. That way it forces them to jostle quite a bit. As you can see, the water is a good amount below the top of the rocks. It's exactly what I wanted. So now that we have done both of those things, we're gonna go put it in the rotary tumbler. I'll see you all in 7 days when I check on this for the first time. All right, it has been 7 days, and after 7 days, I believe these are to a point already where I can be satisfied and move on. It's honestly kind of insane how fast they're shaping out, and yeah. Realizing I have my work cut out for me on this one. So I'm going to strain them into this bouquet, and we will rinse them off and take a look. Okay, so here's kind of what we're looking at right now. It's kind of insane how fast these are shaping with the first step. That's like no pre-shaping whatsoever. That's literally just 7 days in the 6090. There's a couple in here that are just mind-blowing. Look at this one. Oh, that's gonna be so nice. You guys, we gotta make this work. We gotta figure this out, because that's gonna be amazing. There's some really freaking nice ones in here. I mean, just look at some of these. That is so pretty. There's one in here that has like insane, there it is, gold sheen. Oh my gosh, that's gonna be so pretty if it comes out. I'm so hopeful. So I'm gonna take these and deep clean them individually with a toothbrush and soap really quick, and I'll be right back. All right, they have been cleaned thoroughly, so now I'm going to add this 120, 220 silicon carbide, and I'm gonna add less this time, I think. Maybe like 3 tablespoons, because seeing how fast that other stuff worked, I don't want too much in here. On top of that, usually I don't add this until the 3rd step, but we're going to do it this time because I think it's going to make a huge difference, and that is media. But specifically plastic media. I think the plastic media will be a little more friendly to the Obsidian than the ceramic wood. So and also I'm probably gonna use way more media than I normally would, because again, I don't know. This is so weird. It's tumbling so strange compared to what I'm used to, which is what I've heard from everyone that has tumbled the stuff, that it's It's strange and it behaves strange, so good luck. And you should probably use a vibratory to finish, but I don't have one. So we're gonna see if we can get good results from using purely rotary tumbling in this video. I'm hopeful. So now I'm gonna add some water, and this is good to go, and I'm gonna check it every like 3 days. You know, I'm checking these right now. These are the banded iron. They're not perfect, but I think they're ready to move on also. Just a quick little update for you guys. It's been about a week. I'm seeing that it is still too aggressive. This is step 2, and it's still being pretty harsh. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pour out all the water. I'm gonna dump out the majority, like almost all of that second grit. I'm gonna leave just a little tiny bit in there, and we're gonna go for another week. I'm thinking that it's just doing too much work. It's so much harder than the Obsidian that it's just doing a little too well. So yeah, we're gonna see how that works. I'll see you in about a week. Okay, I've given these another week, and it's weird. We're like seeing better results and also not at the same time. So see, really nice smooth coat starting to show up, but you'll notice all of the corners are super dinged. So no matter what I did, I couldn't get rid of those. I think the problem is there's just too many rocks in the tumbler at once. Basically with the Obsidian, once you get into polishing steps, you want a few amounts enough that they should never touch each other between all the media. Given that this is half the pile and this is the other half of the pile, yeah, we definitely had too much. So here's what I've whittled it down to. These are all of the really good sheens or rainbows, and even then I might take a few more out. We're gonna start back over at step 2, but we're gonna use way less grit, really, because all I want is to round off the edges. Flats actually look good. Flats are pretty much ready to go on. It's just those edges do not look good, and I think it is because it was just overfilled. They were smacking into each other. It was creating all of these little micro impact dents, basically. So yeah, we're gonna need to get rid of those and start over. And I guess if it works, we'll put those in after everything else is done. Meanwhile, here's one of those banded shirts. This is also step 2, and it is looking freaking fantastic. That's going exactly how it should. So it was a good thing to start these side by side so you can see what it's supposed to look like. Even more time has passed, and we're kind of moving backwards. Our surface should not look like that at the end of step 2. That is not very good. But I have a plan in motion. We just got back from South Dakota, where we went to the rock shed, where I picked the owner's brain about this predicament that I found myself in, and he gave me some fantastic tips on getting a good finish result out of them. So, step 1, my thinking was correct with the plastic media. The methodology is wrong though. The plastic media actually cushions less than the ceramic medium. So I picked up a bunch of ceramic media, and I also got another thing that will come into play later. But I think we're gonna try this again, way less grit on step 2 with ceramic media, and we're gonna see what we get. So here's attempt 3. We've got a lot of media. It's like up to there, almost halfway. We're down to 5 pieces of obsidian in here. I'm testing something. I think it'll work better. There is such a difference of hardness in the grit and the obsidian. You know, at the end of each batch of step 1 and 2, usually the grit is fairly well disintegrated. Yeah, it's not going away. It is not going anywhere, which I think is preventing a slurry from building up, which means it's not like getting finer, it's just leaving it nice and rough, which is not what we want. So I'm thinking maybe just having trace amounts of grit will make a difference. I don't know. We'll see, I guess. But the ceramic media should cushion way better, so alright, so what are we up to? Attempt 3 or 4? I don't know. Anyway, let's give this a few days and see how it looks. It's time for our 4-day checkup. Oh my gosh. The difference is night and day. They're still not ready to move on because there's still a ton of damage from tumbling them incorrectly. But those faces are so much better than they were. Like, they're not quite ready, but they're getting real close. I just want to get rid of that surface texture. But yeah, that was definitely the missing ingredient. Plastic media was not the way to go. But I have spent so much time trying to figure out and crack the code on this, which I failed and was only given the code thanks to the wonderful people at the Rock Shed. Thank you so much. Anyway, we've spent so much time screwing around with this that batch of banded iron is done now. We'll get some more close-ups later in the video when everything is done, but they came out so nice. Oh my goodness, look at that hematite. That metallic shine is so cool. Oh yeah, a lot of them are like this. That shine is insane. Some of them kind of fractured up in the barrel, but honestly I don't really care too much for the most part. when I tumble, I am windowing for cabs later, but wow, look at the metal on that one. Oh gosh, where's another good one? This one's cool because there's such a small amount of hematite in it. See those little flickers of silver? That's so pretty. Yeah, again, I'm not going to show all of them just because I'm going to do that again later when we're in better light, but they came out so nice. So yeah, we've literally completed an entire barrel of other material while I still cannot move past step 2 on this obsidian. But we're on the right track fine. So I'm going to load the second barrel up with more obsidian and let's keep going. Actually, here's a really good side-by-side comparison of how much progress that made. See, we're actually starting to get a little bit of shine on this one. This is with the ceramic, but when you get close, there's just a tiny bit of texture left that I want to get rid of. We need to smooth that out. And then here are the ones before I started taking them out of the barrel. Yeah, that's like night and day. Look at all the ding marks in there. So yeah, I think this is perfect visual proof that, yeah, that is in fact working very well. All right, guys, it took like 2 months of messing around and restarting step 2 over and over again. They are finally ready to move on, and look at how good they look. That is flippin' perfect. Okay, I'm very, very happy about this. Seriously, it's been like 2 months. Like, I literally finished an entire other Tumbler batch with several weeks to spare trying to get this past step 2. Looks so good. This one had oil from the saw on it. That's why it's so shiny already, but man, looking at how good that looks, and this is only step 2. These things are gonna be crazy. Oh, I'm so happy right now. All right, so at last we can move on to step 3. Okay, on closer inspection, the first batch is ready. They're like right where I want them to be. The second batch, I might let run a little bit longer. They're looking good too, but there's a little bit of texture there, and I don't want that. So I might just toss them back in and let them go another week. But regardless, I'm still moving the other one over. So now that we can move on to step 3, which feels so freaking good to say, we're going to be using this, which is 500 grit aluminum oxide. And I'm gonna use, I usually use like 4 to 6 tablespoons. Probably go on the lower end just because they are looking so good after spending so much freaking time in step 2. So yeah, we'll probably do 4 tablespoons. But there's a reason I am so hyper focused on step 2, because now that they are done with that step, the brunt of the work is over. We only need like 4 days per polishing step, because I am also going to be doing an additional step at 1000, which usually I don't do, but I think it's going to be a huge help with the obsidian, because it is, I don't know, glasses can be notoriously hard to polish, so I think having that extra step is gonna do a lot to get us to a really high shine. But yeah, I'm gonna put in the grit and I'll see you in like 4 or 5 days. All right, so it has been, I gave it 6 days, I believe. And here is where we're at. They are starting to look so freaking good. Look at that color. Oh, it's gonna be so pretty. So these are ready to go into stage 4, which normally would be polished, but this time, because it's glass and glass is so very touchy to polish, we are actually gonna use 1000. Step 3 was 500 grit aluminum oxide. We are now moving to 1000 grit aluminum oxide. Look how freaking pretty that is. I'm so excited. These are going to be absolutely stunning. I even added more media just so I know for a fact they're not going to be smacking into each other. We are good to go. I also used less water on this one, not reaching, I don't know, I don't even know how much, just not very much water. I know that's a very scientific technical measurement right there, but the exact amount was not much. Anyway though, I'm gonna put this back in and we're gonna let it go. See, probably like 4 days. I'm gonna check it. Let's check the other barrel, and these are ready to move on to step 3 now. Alrighty guys, these are the nice ones. They've gotten 5 more days in the 1000 grit, and they are ready to move on to final polish, and I'm so freaking happy. Took so long. I'm so happy to be almost done with these. And I checked the other ones and they're ready to move to the 1000, so that's like perfect timing. Alright, and for this, I really wanted the polish to be working overtime, so I used more than normal. I used like 6 tablespoons, and I have less water than normal. Water is only up to about here, like right at the bottom of my thumb right there. Alright guys, well it took a long freaking time, but I've checked these. I gave them 6 days in polish just to give them that extra shine, and I am so very, very happy. But I'm not going to show you yet because we still have to transfer the other batch over to the polish. Once those are finished, I will show you the end result. But oh my gosh, I am so happy. That was like that took months to pull off, but they are looking so good. All right, guys, it's done, and I am so freaking happy. So let's get some close-ups so I can show you our final result. But I guess first, let's take a look at some of those banded iron, because I said we would get close-ups. So now would probably be the time to do that. All right, we're gonna do this with gloves, because I get fingerprints all over everything otherwise, which I've tumbled it before. I expected it to come out nicely. I tumbled this the same way I tumble everything else. Got pretty much exactly what I was expecting from these, but they're so gorgeous. I love them. The way the hematite polishes is just so different. Oh, where's a good example? It's just so pretty. The texture in each layer is just gorgeous. Takes such a high metallic shine too. It's just awesome. So I'll probably be tumbling a little bit more of this stuff just because I have a good amount of tumbling size material. It's just so pretty. That Wyoming banded iron is something else. But yeah, I expected these to come out nicely, just mainly because I've done them before. Didn't have to worry about changing stuff up like this. Yeah, this is something I'm familiar with. The Obsidian, on the other hand, not so much. And here is the Obsidian. And I am so beyond happy with how these came out. Like, that shine is fantastic. Downside is because, you know, they're dark, shiny, black rocks. Fingerprints, man. Yeah, you see, I'm wearing gloves and I'm still putting fingerprints on. It's the only downside. Handling these, you have to wipe them back off constantly. The color came out so rich. Purple is just insane. This one, I think, has the nicest colors out of all of them. Look at that. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I'm beyond happy. That was a process and a half. But we have the recipe now, which means we can do this again. This is really cool. This is a gold sheen. Oh, it's so freaking pretty. I'm just like, yeah. I have these in a little tray, and I've just kind of been ogling them, mainly because of how long they took to do. But yeah, there you go. Now you can see that silver sheen and the gold sheen. Also, check out how pretty this is. You get a light behind it. Look how clear they are. Oh, it's amazing. There's one in here. Which one is it? I think it's this one. Yeah, look how clear that is. It's so pretty. They just look so black until you actually look closer, and there's so much going on in these. Oh, that's so pretty. But yeah, needless to say, I'm very, very, very happy with how these came out after how long we were messing around with them. So I was fumbling my way through this, so I couldn't do this at the start. But now that we have achieved success, I can actually lay out what the steps are. So, step 1, you're gonna just tumble as normal. No special things needed for step 1. Step 2, you're gonna take every single stone out until you have 4 to 6. And that is super important because I think that was the main reason why it took so long to get past step 2, because they were smacking into each other. The other reason is ceramic media is crucial, and use more than you think you need and not as much water as you would expect. Once you've finally smoothed them out and they're ready to move on, you can do step 3, which is 500 grit aluminum oxide, and add even more ceramic media afterward. I think that extra step helped a ton, so I would highly recommend doing step 4 as 1000 grit aluminum oxide, and then you can go on to your actual polish compound, which is step 5. Once I actually did it correctly, I was spending about, probably 5 days on average per step once it actually was done correctly. Usually you do a step 6, which would actually be step 5, of burnishing with just soap to clean everything off, but I literally didn't even need to. Like, this is without the burnishing step, and they're this crazy shiny. And that's really it. I thought it would be more complicated. I don't know what I thought, if I'm being honest. I thought I could do it, then I started doing it and realized it was not as easy as I was expecting. And then once I got the tricks, it really was just as simple as taking the rocks out. This is a batch, which feels wrong, but that is a whole batch. Having that such a small amount of rocks in your tumbler at one time. But yeah, that was the trick, and the ceramic media to space it more evenly. I've wanted to do this for a very long time, especially after going to Glass Buttes, where we have a lot of obsidian that's in this size range. It is really, really nice knowing that I actually know how to tumble these now without a vibratory. It would be way easier in a vibratory, but yeah, I thought it wasn't. Like, I was told by so many people that it is impossible in a rotary. It clearly is not, and it actually was not that difficult once I actually was on the right track. So once more, thank you so much to the people at the Rock Shed for giving me the secret tip of use more ceramic media. Not plastic, use more ceramic. Literally the instant we added ceramic media, it was night and day. I think the other secret that helped us move past step 2 was using way less grit than I thought I would need. So usually I use like 2 to 4 tablespoons of the second grit. That was just overkill by a wide margin for these pieces of obsidian because glass is so easily scratched. It's like it never made a slurry. The slurry is super important so that it can break down and progressively get finer and finer. That never happened with obsidian. Whatever level it was at when I put it in, no matter how long I gave it, it was still at that level when I was finished. But yeah, guys, here's the proof of which is pudding, I guess, or however that expression goes. Oh, it's so pretty. I am so happy. This is just awesome. And I am already looking forward to doing another batch. The only downside is how long it takes because you can only do like 4 or 5 stones at a time. Alrighty, guys, that's gonna do it for this one. Little thing to add on the end of this video. I will not be posting a video on the main channel next Saturday because that video will instead be getting posted to the second channel, Sticks and Stones, because when this video comes out, tomorrow is the first day of Maker's Challenge. So it starts with rockhounding adventures and Katie did, so make sure you don't miss those videos and stay tuned throughout the rest of the week because yeah, there's gonna be some awesome projects coming from a bunch of different channels. But again, I say there will be no main channel video next week. Instead, it will be on the second channel. So next Saturday, check out that project on the second channel. I'm so excited about it. It came out so well. Tumbling videos are always intimidating for me just because of how much time goes into tumbling. So I have to kind of like keep track of the footage in the background while I'm doing other videos, and it can get a lot to take, you know, just keep organized. This one was especially so because, you know, normally I'm like averaging 4 to 6 weeks per tumble batch. This one, I think start to finish was like 3 months. And that was entirely because I was doing stuff wrong. The moment we changed gears, we were averaging like, I don't know, 5 days between steps. Messing up is usually the best way and experimentation is usually the best way that I can learn what not to do in the future. Sorry, I'm getting distracted. Look how freaking pretty those are. Like, they've got all the color and stuff on the outside, and then you get a light behind it. Oh my god, look how clear that band is. That's so cool. But yeah, guys, I think that is gonna wrap up this adventure. Let me know which piece was your favorite. Sorry this wasn't such a very straightforward tutorial style video, but it's kind of hard to make a tutorial when you yourself are still trying to figure it out as you're going. But we got there, that's what counts. I hope very much that this video helps any of you rotary tumblers out there to get a good successful batch of obsidian, because I'm telling you right now, it's worth it. Like, look at that. It's insane. It's so very worth it. Go do it right now. I'm gonna go ogle my obsidian pieces for a while, probably a couple of days to weeks, and I will see you all next time.